Christmas and happy holidays to all our loyal viewers out there. Happy Thursday night. How are you doing today, Nate?
Doing great, Snickers. How are you on this Christmas Eve?
I am doing well. Christmas Eve. Nice Friends reference there.
I know we're both not in the playoffs, as you all know, but we are still here to let you know what's going on with the rest of you playoff contenders. There are 4 left in our league. It's the semifinals. Football's going on as we speak. A potentially impactful game between the Jets and the Jaguars. We have John on the show today to just discuss the perspective from outside the league, see who he thinks will be making it to the finals. And we'll be talking about the recap. But first, let's talk about our bet. Things continue to look not your way. This has not been your year for the bet, Snickers.
It's true. After we initiated this new playoff bet, we thought it would send me a couple of points, and I ended up losing 3 points last week in the regular bet, and then picked both the matchups incorrectly.
It was tough. They could have gone either way. Close for, well, one of the matchups was close. One of them wasn't, but not in a way that we could have predicted, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if AJ Dillon only scored 3 points, I would have won the matchup, but he scored 27 or something. So
that's right. So Shane is on to the semifinals, and Kyle is on to the semifinals, as I predicted. And what happened with the regular bet?
Yeah, the regular bet this week or last week, we were picking between Elijah Moore and Chigagonkwo, and they both, did average, which is what we thought they would do. But Okonkwo did end up getting a couple more yards than Elijah Moore. You got the dub there.
Yeah, out-edged him just by a single rush attempt. I think otherwise they would have tied. But so that puts me at 12. It puts you still at 4. And now what's our bet this week?
Yeah, our bet this week, we're looking at one of the matchups. We have Josh Jacobs against Dalvin Cook. They both are projected exactly for the same amount of points right now, which is very interesting. We haven't done that exactly yet this year, I don't think. This week, I am going to ride with the hot hand, Josh Jacobs, going against the Pittsburgh Steelers. On Sunday Night Football, you're going with Dalvin Cook against the New York Giants.
That's right. I don't blame you at all for that pick, but I am trusting in Dalvin Cook. I think he's on the better fantasy team right now because Kyler, I projected to lose this matchup, has Josh Jacobs. He's been riding on Josh Jacobs' back, but this week it's going to be Shane's team prevailing with Dalvin Cook as his RB1. But now let's get into a little bit of a recap of what happened last week.
Yeah.
So if we pull up our first, actually, let's take a quick look at our brackets here, just to refresh your memory. In my brackets, I had 2 successful matchups. Now I, as predicted, have Katie playing Kyle and Shane playing Kyler. Before I think that Katie will win and Shane will win, and ultimately Shane will be the champion. Now in your matchup, you can still get the next 4 points here because while Matt did not win, if Katie wins this week, you'll get a point for that. And if Kyler wins this week, you'll get a point for that. So, and then you ultimately have Katie winning the championship, and she is our number 1 seed.
Right. It'll be pretty embarrassing if either Shane wins for me or if Kyle wins for you, because we both have them losing in the first round. But
yeah,
we'll see how that goes here. I'm pretty excited just to follow this as a spectator. I've never been a spectator before.
Well, it's something familiar to some of us, more so than you, and I'm glad that you have to experience it this year. Now, we also had our very own Commissioner Matt Berluti clarified some of the playoff situation here so we can broadcast that to everybody. I think we all understand how the main playoffs work, but if you look down at the consolation bracket, last week we had mid-tier Nick playing Carson. The winner of that gets to move on to the championship of the Toilet Bowl. So mid-tier Nick is now playing me. Meanwhile, you beat John, and so you and Kenny will be playing this week for a chance at the Toilet Bowl title. And meanwhile, something to look for is our last place game is playing this week between Carson and John. The winner of that game will be 11th, and the loser of that game will be the official loser this year.
Yeah. You don't want to be the official loser.
So for those of you in the constellation bracket, you can ignore what ESPN is telling you. We are actually going by the brackets in this very spreadsheet, which you should all have access to. Now, looking back at last week, we had our matchup between the Olive Man and Shane. What happened here?
Yeah, I mean, Shane's team came to play, and Ducky's team did, decent, pretty high score overall. But yeah, Shane just blew them out. Danny Jones didn't really do anything, but the rest of Shane's entire team did. Dalvin Cook, Saquon Barkley, AJ Brown, all going over 20 points. Jalen Waddle as well, even though he got injured. George Kittle getting 23 points. Shane's team would just knock it out of the park. It would be pretty hard to beat him no matter what. Yeah, it's probably like a third or fourth highest score of the whole year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, meanwhile, the Olive Man, it's not that he had a bad week. 113 exceeded his projection, probably above average week overall when considering the whole context of the season. Justin Fields came through for him. However, Miles Sanders really did not. And he has been relying on him for a long time.
I saw that at the end of the game. I'm like, oh, Miles Sanders got injured. That stinks. And I looked it up. He's like, Miles Sanders did not get injured. He just got like 5 carries for 6 yards and a fumble or something like that. And that was his final score.
Yeah, I wasn't watching that game, but that was very bizarre to me as well. And the Justin Jefferson trade looks like it paid off at this point, in my opinion, but it wasn't quite enough to get him to the semis. Chris Olave, of course, the Olive Man, has been bad the last few weeks. There's rumors of injury. That team has kind of just fallen apart, even though they still remain playoff hopefuls.
Yeah, they're a little over 1%, I believe, right now to get the playoffs.
And the Cowboys have actually had a couple bad weeks in a row for the defense.
Yeah.
Because they also played poorly against the Texans. All the teams you'd expect them to be good against. Meanwhile, we had a closer matchup. This one it doesn't look close here, but it was tight up until the last couple of games. So while some of us were watching the games together, and it really was a toss-up for most of the weekend.
Yeah, no, this was very interesting. Obviously, Josh Allen he had a very good game in the snow in the fourth quarter against the Dolphins. Like we said previously, AJ Dillon got 2 touchdowns in the win over Baker Mayfield and the Rams here. And other than that, I mean, Tyreek got almost to his projection. 19 points is a tough projection to hit, I'd say. But yeah, he did definitely pretty well. Matt did put up a pretty admirable fight here. Had a pretty average week, slightly above average week, I'd say overall. But unfortunately, he was my horse and he did not get the dub.
Yeah, it all came down to that quarterback decision. Josh Allen does what he does best, and Justin Herbert continues to be lackluster, which I don't think really anyone puts on him. But when playing fantasy, all that matters is what the score is, not whether he played well.
Right.
So again, he was on the kind of winning side of a trade, in my opinion. Getting Zeke just wasn't quite enough. And so that was really the important matchups last week. And now we have a quick word from our sponsor before we are joined by our guest, John.
Have you ever heard the phrase?
Actually, sorry, one moment. Now we have a quick word from our sponsor.
Have you ever heard the phrase aged like fine wine? Well, we at CA2 haven't, because we don't believe in aging. If you listen to everything we tell you, you will never age. To help you freeze time like a cryogenic chamber with Ted Williams' body in it, we're releasing our patented, acidifying CA2 method Pinot Grigio. All it takes is 1 bottle a night and we'll guarantee you'll stop aging in its tracks. You don't even need to drink it, you can.
Rub it on your skin and it makes you live forever.
The mix of nightshades and lactic acid combine for an unstoppable force of protection for your body. For the low price of $49.99 over 5 payments, you can get a bottle of CA2 Method Pinot Grigio. We guarantee it has the acid your body needs and the taste your mouth wants.
Well, that sounds pretty good to me there, Nate. I don't know about you. It might be a little pricey, but I say we jump into some news around the league real quick here.
Oh, yes. Thank you
Yeah.
for reminding me.
And let's get everyone up to date. There's two sad announcements I like to bring to the table here real quick. Obviously, on the Steelers Hall of Fame running back, Franco Harris just died this week, a couple days short of the 50th anniversary of his immaculate reception against the Raiders in the divisional round in 1972. Also, Super Bowl champion Ronnie Hillman died of cancer this week, which is rough. Sending their prayers to both their families here. Back to football. Colts have a lot of news going on there. They were up 33-0 on the Minnesota Vikings. They let up the largest comeback in NFL history. So cheers to the Vikings here. And then Matt Ryan's getting benched for the second time this year for Big Richard Nick Foles. He's a starter once again. He's going to light it up this week against the Chargers. Ryan Tannehill looks like he's probably out for the season. Jalen Hurts drew it out this week. Minshew Mania. Gardner Minshew is going to be back this week against the Dallas Cowboys on Saturday afternoon here. Lamar Jackson is still out. It looks like he might be out for a little bit while, hoping to save him for the playoffs. I think the Ravens have about a 92% chance to make it right now. Trace McSorley, Penn State legend, making his first career start this week, and all the Arizona Cardinals fans are very, very excited about it. That was sarcasm. And then last but not least, Chase Young, the Washington Commanders, finally back in the lineup. He's going to be playing this week against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, interesting side fact about the terrible loss suffered by the Colts this week. I don't know if you heard this, Nick, but the old record was 32 point come from behind, I believe, from the Bills. I don't remember the year exactly now, but it was
against the Oilers, 1992.
1992. It was Frank Reich was the quarterback at the time. So this was a doubly terrible occasion for him because he had the record for best comeback ever by a quarterback. And now the person who replaced him took that record away from him by performing so poorly. So some kind of cruel irony there.
Yeah, but Frank Reich's getting paid to play golf right now, so he'll probably get over it.
Yeah, no, we can only have so much sympathy for these coaches who haven't made. But now that we've had the news, please welcome John to the show. All right, John, welcome.
Happy to be here as always. You guys put on a great show. I just want to.
Very nice. And the unicorn is here as well.
Yes.
One of the
my
league
personal safety pet.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that unicorn is the fantasy football trophy we're going for, and John's actually playing for last place right now this week.
That's right.
And, so it's funny that he has it.
So is it official that we're sending this to the victor?
Yeah, I think we have to.
Very nice.
Well, I just want it to be known that I am very good at fantasy because I own this right now, right? It's in my house.
And that is why I believe you are playing for last place this weekend.
Against who?
Against Carson.
Carson. He doesn't have a chance.
Well, we will look into that in just a moment, actually. So I'm glad that you seem to have strong feelings about it.
I just set up my lineup. I'm feeling very confident, Nate. Very, very confident.
I'm glad because your team was actually, I would say, average in this league to a little bit sub-average, but actually had some decent scores at times. But now, let's take a look at the last place game. We have Carson projected at 89 points and just 88 points. In a quick look, he does have people playing in all of his positions, so that might not change. Now, John, you're projected at 94, so it's pretty tight. Now, it looks like you already have someone playing in tonight's game who has 0 points. How are you feeling in that game?
Yeah, he'll come back. Unless the game is already over.
No, it's still early. Werewolves could probably
I'm not entirely sure when the game starts.
It's as according to my screen, it is almost halftime.
And he has no points. Who is this bum?
Garrett Wilson.
Well,
first
you know
round draft
why
pick.
my team sucks? I just learned about this today. Can you believe, Nate? Can you believe Gardner Minshew, the mustachioed menace, has returned and Snickers stole him and will not trade him to me?
I mean, Snickers is playing for the Toilet Bowl championship, but
I don't see how that could possibly matter.
and you're calling him a menace is confusing to me because you seem to be a fan of the man.
He is a menace to his opponents.
Ah,
Yes.
Yeah, if it makes you feel better, John, Carson's playing Michael Carter right now, and he only has 0.3 points for a running back, so you're probably going to cancel each other out there.
and who knows? Maybe Snickers could even be convinced to trade you him after the season is over for some keeper capabilities on your part.
Yeah, that would be
absolutely.
I think he could be a very valuable keeper. I bet he may even get drafted in between 0 and 1% of leagues.
I don't know, Nate. I think you're sleeping on him too much.
It all depends if someone goes and breaks Jalen Hurts' knees, then maybe.
Listen, Jalen Hurts was the biggest scrub this season. I don't care how many points he had.
He's the current front runner for MVP, but I get the sentiment there. But John, who on your team besides Ramondre and Amon-Ra do you think are going to be able to bring you a Christmas present here and be able to show out and show up?
Yeah, I would bet Garrett Wilson. I know currently he has 0 points, but I'm predicting a big second half. I'm talking about at least 30 yards out of him. Would put him at what, like 5 points?
Depends on how many times he catches the ball.
Oh, interesting. 7 times. 7 touches, 30 yards.
7 for 30 would get you over 5 points. That's right.
Yeah, that would get you like 6.5, which I'm sure you'd be very happy with.
Yeah, I would be very happy with that. Also, Najee, who has been just giving me a year of letdowns. This might be his Christmas present.
Yeah, he's actually been a little bit better of late. I may have been kind of distracted by some of the other members of your team's bad performances, but the last few weeks he's turned things around a little bit.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I haven't noticed. I just assumed he was just taking a dump on my team every week.
And I think Ramondre, I don't know if you were watching the game last week, John. I know Snickers was, but he actually had an amazing week until he then ended the game for the Pats.
I think I watch the first half with you, Nate.
Oh, you did watch the first half with me, but the very last play of the game would have seen with Snickers, not with me.
Yeah, no, I didn't actually see that play. I saw it like a rerun of it. So, do you think that was worse than the butt fumble? Because I don't think it was.
It's a popular discussion this week in ESPN and things like that, whether the butt fumble, what we're calling the hail moron last week, or the Colts 4th down punt formation that ended up getting a turnover is one of the worst plays in NFL history. And there's people falling down on every side there.
Well, wait, so it wasn't a Hail Mary for us, right? It was
not a Hail Mary. Ramondre ran up, lateraled the ball to Jacoby Myers, and Jacoby Myers threw the ball to Chandler Jones, who's on the other team, and he ran it for a touchdown.
Was the play supposed to go to Jones again? And Jones was going to run?
No, the play was just for Ramondre to get tackled and to go in overtime and to deal with that. But Ramondre decided he was going to pull something fancy and win the game in that moment.
Wow.
But they were tied, not losing. So,
see, isn't it like a hallmark of Belichick teams that they don't do stupid plays like that?
Yeah, I can't imagine. He must have been beside himself because that was I think Jacoby in his interview after the game recognized that it was him and Ramondre alone who decided to do that. And the rest of the team was thinking they were just going to get tackled and go to overtime.
It might be risky to play this guy. If he's on like Belichick's bad side, he might just not play.
I think he might be more upset with Jacoby Myers. I thought he might not be able to make it to the press conference because he got cut, but that's at least on the team.
He's been too good this year to get cut, I think, but he may get punished in some other way. But let's talk about our playoff matchups. The first one is Shane versus Kyler. Projected at pretty similar point totals here. Kyler's having a bit of a okay, I guess, start for his two current players, Josh Jacobs and Travis Etienne and Evan Ingram. What's going to be the key, Snickers, to Kyler winning this game? I have to imagine he feels more like the underdog here.
Yeah, looking at the two teams, I think Shane has a lot more skill there. Kyler has a lot more boomer bust. Joe Burrow, Josh Jacobs both could go off. I don't think Joe Burrow is necessarily going to go for 404 against the Patriots, but I think he definitely could. Juju's always a threat for a touchdown. So is Devontae. So is Matt Collins, honestly, if you remember the beginning of the year. But yeah, I think Kyler really has to rely on his top two there, Joey and Josh Jacobs, if he's going to be able to survive this game and go into the finals.
Yeah, now what's interesting is that Shane is actually going to be at this game between the Patriots and Cincinnati. And will he be able to bring bad mojo to Joe Burrow, or will he jinx himself by being there? We'll have to see.
I do believe he'll jinx himself. It's a very Shane-like move.
If he brings bad mojo for Joe Burrow, he has to bring bad mojo for Evan McPherson too, I think, right?
That's true, but I think he would take that.
I would take that too.
Yeah, I mean, his projection, I mean, his front squad there really could just go off any week, and I think it's going to take some real luck on the part of Kyler, who, even though the projections are similar, Josh Jacobs and Joe Burrow are the only scary-looking members of his team. So,
I don't know. I mean, Saquon Barkley, kind of a bad player.
Some have said that, although he's proven a lot of them wrong this year. I think he's turned things around.
He's still too injury prone for my liking. Not a fan.
We know that all it takes is him accidentally stepping on some other guy too, when he's out for the season. So
yes.
Now I personally, as we all know, I'm taking Shane, as much as I hate to do it. But I do think he's the stronger team. I have to bring the truth to the show. But then we also have Kyle versus Katie. One where I actually think, even though I picked Kyle last week, I think he's going to lose this week. Despite everything. John, what is going to be the key to Kyle overcoming our number one seed?
Yeah, it's always Tyreek Hill. If a team has Tyreek Hill on them, then they have a chance at winning. And I'm going to predict, just because I think Kyle has the better team by far, that Tyreek Hill gets 40 points, double the 19.8 that you see projected on the screen.
He has done that. He certainly is one of the players who's capable of it. What's your take there, Snickers?
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek's definitely a good player playing in the warm against Green Bay here. But what I'm looking at very interesting is Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs playing in Chicago this week. It's supposed to be like 20 degrees and 40-mile-an-hour winds. I don't know how their passing is going to go. I know Josh Allen's probably going to get his 80 yards in the ground, something like that. But I think it would be pretty interesting to see how his top two guys are able to fare, as well as his two backup running backs, A.J. Dillon and Jalen Warren, who's starting this week.
Yeah, that's true. That is the hole in Kyle's game, is he does have some of these backup players. And I will say that Aaron Jones did pull something together last week, but like you said, A.J. Dillon is getting better and better after almost looking like he was out of favor on that team. T. Higgins is also on Katie's bench. I don't know what his injury status is, but he could end up in there over Amari Cooper. I would probably make that move.
Yeah, Amari Cooper and against New Orleans has the lowest over-under in over 10 years, I heard. So I don't know if I'd be playing anyone from those games.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 30-mile-an-hour winds. Wind really affects, especially the guy who gets all the long passes. Now, Patrick Mahomes is getting played. I forgot that she was on his team, her team. And Marquise Goodwin could be is actually a really good. I didn't know he was on Kyle's team, but with Tyler Lockett out, he could end up having some value this week if he needs.
Yeah, against the Chiefs defense, who isn't very electric. I did see Kyle just picked him up maybe yesterday, and see if he goes in their place. It was two tight ends. I don't understand these two tight end strategies, but
yeah, I would definitely
three tight ends if you have Juwan Johnson on your bench as well.
Yeah, so who are you calling here, John?
Yo, Kyle all the way.
Kyle,
Down with Katie.
What do you have against Katie?
Yeah, she's been too good for too long in these leagues. Kyle, he's the guy chomping at the bit for the win, and I want to see him have it.
I don't think that Katie has a particularly strong history, although I did not realize she was in the in the finals last year until I went back and looked last week. That surprised me. I didn't realize that she lost to her brother.
Hmm.
I think that
Yeah,
we covered that
interesting.
beginning of the season. But then just real quick, we see that Shane on the free agent board or the waiver wire here, picking up 2 backup running backs, trying to get some safety, spending $35 on the 2 of them.
They're both on the Colts.
Both on the Colts. Yeah, just to have the right guy in case that he needs him in the finals, I guess.
It looks like Shane's trying to get the rest of his money out the way and make sure no one else picked up the right Colts running back if there is going to be one.
Yeah, a lot of defense being played here. They say there's no defense in fantasy, but in the playoffs, there kind of is. And I know that Kenny is picking up a defense against you, Snickers, although not one that makes me feel too scared.
Yeah, and you got Mr. Irrelevant there, Brock Purdy.
Yeah,
Let's see what he can do against the Washington Commanders this week.
Yeah, I need someone to play in my in the toilet bowl because Jalen Hurts is out. Now, thank you so much for joining us, John. We just have Caitlin's hot takes coming up to end the show today. But
no problem. Always glad to be a guest. I think you kept your audience waiting too long for my return. Tell Caitlin I said hi.
Yeah, I think many agree that you've been off for too long. But I don't know what we call your game exactly, but good luck in it. The toilet bowl is the championship. So what is your game? The sewer bowl?
Oh, I don't know, Nate, because like if you're not first, you're last. So second place is just the first of last place. So I view last place where I currently am fighting for no different than second to last place.
Interesting. That's a unique take in if you're not first, you're last.
Oh yeah. I mean, really, skill level, it's about the same.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to watch.
Later,
John. All right, everyone. And now to end our show today, we have one more segment from you. Caitlin has returned after being at work last week. Please welcome her for Caitlin's hot takes.
Hey Nate, hey Nick, thanks for having me as usual.
Yeah, no, you're very welcome. Obviously, a very consistent member of our team. I know you've been doing some research this week, working very hard. What do you have to share with us?
I do research every week, Nate, but I'm very excited because Boston's obviously a big sports town. The Bruins are doing great. Patriots, I mean, it's not their year, but historically they've been great in recent history. But did you know that the Women's Football Alliance, Boston Renegades, are 3-time champions?
Yeah, they pulled off not just 3-time champions. I think they three-peated. Is that true?
I don't know what a three-peat means.
3 consecutive.
Yes, because one of the seasons was canceled because of COVID.
Very nice. And so, are you saying that you have some information for us about the women's league?
Well, besides the fact that they're apparently awesome, they play in Revere. I checked the schedule. It's not yet out for 2023, but I was hoping we could go. And given that it is Christmas, I made a small donation on behalf of the Snick Snack Sports Podcast, Kate, Nate, and Nick.
Oh, that's very generous.
Yeah. And so, yeah, we're going to have to go to one of the games to see these awesome ladies play football. Unfortunately, they have to pay to play because it's not yet profitable. They pay like minimum of like $700. It could go into the thousands with gear and stuff though. But Robert Kraft was let them go on the Patriots plane for the championship recently.
Wow,
It was
that's
nice.
awesome, yeah.
But anyway, my hot take is that the NFL should probably do more to invest in women's football to build up interest at a earlier stage in life. Because while men and women football fans are split pretty evenly, men are more avid fans than women are. Probably because women have less of a connection to it since most of us never played.
Yeah, are you saying that you're hoping to maybe try out for the the Renegades this year?
Heather Marini, who is the player that we made a shout out to in our donation, she started gridiron football relatively late in life because she's from Australia, and we now know that gridiron is what other people call American football. She started late in life, but I don't know if it's in the cards for me, Nate.
Yeah, you might not be built for it, unfortunately.
I don't know. What about kicker? But also, I'm not coordinated.
Yeah. No. What do you think, Snickers? Are you interested in seeing the Renegades play this upcoming season?
I'm absolutely interested in that. Interestingly enough, I was watching an interview this week with Kelsey Plum, who was a former #1 overall draft pick in the WNBA, and she wanted to put out a message to all the men who starting to recognize women's sports, saying that we don't want you to come to our game to support us. We want you to come to our game to cheer on, and because you want to see us play. I thought that was a big difference there. It sounds like it'd be really fun to go see a Renegades game.
Yeah. When is the season?
So it's a spring season.
Ah, very nice. So it's juxtaposes with the NFL as well.
And is clearly superior to the NFL because it is less cold during the championships.
But also more hot.
I mean, for the fan, that's nicer. For the players, it just means, I don't know. That sounds more difficult to me. I never did well in sports under hot conditions. But as a fan, I enjoy that.
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, summer is the time for sports. So probably not a bad idea. But no, thanks for bringing that to our attention, Caitlin.
Thank you.
We'll be having you back on the show next week.
Great. And I'm excited to talk about what's it called? The XFL? Because it sounds way better.
Ah, okay.
Not better than women's sports, but better than the NFL.
I see. Still trying to bring down the establishment. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for joining us. Getting to the end of this season, and we're happy to have you all here, and we will see you a couple more times before the season closes out.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, everybody.